Hey there, everybody. DeRosa here, coming at you with a bolt action battle report. Today we find ourselves somewhere in the Pacific Theater, 1944. The United States Marine Corps facing off against the Imperial Japanese Army. Today's game used the shifting objectives scenario from Bolt Action Alliance, in which 5 objectives are placed on the board, 1 in the center and 4 in each corner, and they're slightly adjusted by the players at the end. We used the center palm tree in the middle of the mountain there as the center objective. And then you'll see 4 oil cans or paratrooper carts for the other objectives. There's one, for example. Okay, the Marines came out strong. They charged up to their 2 objectives, and then so did the Japanese on their sides. And then both teams went towards the center immediately to try to capture that hill. The Americans were able to move up. The Japanese tank came on first, and the American tank came on second. They had a shootout for a while, and then finally the Japanese tank was blown up. The American tank was then able to have free reign of the battlefield that we'll see in a moment. The Americans on my right flank moved up. This is the Japanese moving up and causing problems for the American Marines. So on the American left flank, they were able to capture the hill position, which had the objective near it. So they captured that position. On the American right flank, they were able to capture the hill with the objective behind it. So they had 2 sides captured. Same with the Japanese. And so on the left side of the American line, they just traded shots from the hillside back and forth with the Japanese units on the right flank of the Japanese line. The American center was successful after a long, drawn-out battle between the tanks. The American tank finally was able to blow up the Japanese tank, which allowed them to move forward. The Americans actually captured the hill first, except for then the Japanese showed up and bonsai'd and pushed them off the hill. There was a really fun duel between 2 leaders, which I'll show you in a little bit. So here's the Americans trying to move up the center with the help of their tank. The tank was able to drive right up to the hill and just spray the Japanese after they assaulted my Marines and pushed them off the hill. But it did not kill the Japanese. It left them almost down to 1 man, in which they're able to hang on. And finally, in the end, you'll see that it's going to be a Japanese victory because the Americans were not able to push them off the hill. Here's the Japanese taking their right flank hillside. The leader, he had to make a decision for the Japanese, and so he ran across the whole field. And at one point, you'll see he gets called out by the American leader. The artillery piece was useful. Both sides. The Japanese were very good with the anti-tank gun, shooting it at everybody, almost like a sniper, hurting everybody. Very accurate, hard to kill, hard to see in this jungle terrain. Here is the sniper. The bazooka, he took damage and was not able to put any damage onto the tank. Here are the Americans on the right side holding off the Japanese push on the Japanese left. Again, this is the Japanese left. Japanese left. So the Americans took their right flank and was able to hold. And we'll see in a moment that the Americans and the Japanese have their hand-to-hand combat on the center battle. And then here it is. The Americans and Japanese moving up. Japanese were able to bonsai. The Japanese are so tricky to play against. No matter how many pins you put on them, they can just bonsai and move forward, and keep assaulting. And so sometimes I do forget. I get too close, and that's what somewhat happened on the hillside. I captured the middle hill and then forgot that they're going to bonsai me and see what happens. Here we see the Japanese have bonsai'd or are bonsaiing and going to take the hill. Bazooka's trying to move forward and get in position to take a shot at that tank, Japanese tank. Still holding the right side of the American line and the Japanese left side. They were a pain. They were able to just pick off my Americans up on the hillside. And the delay on destroying the Japanese tank hurt the Americans' ability to move forward in a quick manner and support their center. These Americans were on the hillside. They sort of just got picked off because the Japanese kept moving down their right flank and sort of kept putting a lot of damage onto that hillside position. Here you see the Japanese have assaulted and taken the Americans. There's one officer left on the side of the hill, and he's going to have a duel with the Japanese officer, and it comes down to who rolls the 5 first, and I believe the American officer does and kills the Japanese officer, but it's a Pyrrhic victory because the Japanese hold the center position and then win the battle. So it was really fun. It's hard to play against the Japanese. Like I said, you have to have a whole game plan on how you're going to keep them away from you, but also do a lot of damage on them. So there's the duel. The American leader dominated the Japanese commander, but all for naught. My assault squad of the Americans was completely worthless the whole time. They went up the left side, got all shot up, and then ran away. So, good times. So let us know what you think. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you want to see, what kind of battles you want to see. We know we have a new version 3 coming up. These are the last few battles of version 2. And we'll see how everyone likes that new version. All right. Hit that subscribe button and give us that like. All right. See you at the tables. Thanks for watching.